Hey guys, it's 43. Today I'm back with another video, and this time it's going to be about offensive rotation, specifically in threes. So a lot of these clips and examples you're going to see are from higher level Grand Champion play, but a lot of the information is still going to be applicable to some of your games in lower ranks as well. So let's start with the first man. The first man's job in the offensive rotation is to get the ball into as dangerous of a spot as possible and create the best scoring chance he can. Now this guy has a lot of options. So he can take a shot if it's there. Obviously can go for a pass if there's somebody middle and if you think you can beat the defense to get it there, or even just buying time and taking a 50-50 can all be good options as the first man because it really is super situational. And so obviously the objective is to try and get some sort of a scoring chance for your team. And so you got to be looking at where the defense is positioned and try to find their gaps so that you can do whatever it is that's going to be most awkward for the defense. And generally speaking, the more time you can buy for your team means they're probably going to be more ready to support and be there to continue the pressure in the offensive end. Now let's talk about the second man. So if you're the second man, your job is to read the play as well as you can, putting yourself in a spot where you think you're most likely to get the ball, whether that's a pass from the first guy who has it, or it's playing off of some sort of short clear or bad touch. You're just trying to read the play and put yourself in a good spot to potentially capitalize on either a mistake or a really good play from someone else on your team. And so you want to be basically lurking in the middle of the field, just ready to jump on any opportunity that comes. You want to be ready to rotate out at any minute, just be watching the play, reading the play, and just be ready for whatever happens next to try and either rotate back quickly or to dive on some chance that pops up for you on the offensive half. And so technically after that first guy, you're supposed to be next, but just because you're that next guy up in the rotation doesn't mean you have to be the one that gets the hit. If there's some clear that's going off to the side towards the wall, a little bit farther back, and so it's kind of awkward for you, your third man's probably there ready for it. So you also need to have trust in teammates, and if it's in a bad spot for you, a lot of the time it's just going to be better for you to quickly turn back and rotate out and become part of the rotation again, instead of trying to keep going for the ball and kind of just ball chasing. And this could make you guys clump up, and a lot of the time it's going to cause double commits, and double commits on offense are avoidable and just really should not happen. So now let's talk about the third man. If you're the third man, there's really two parts to it that are important. The first part is that you need to be keeping possession on the attacking half. You're wanting to push the tempo, you keep the attack going, and you slap back any clear attempts into the offensive side of the field, just really creating pressure and possession for your guys' team on the offensive end. And so to do this, you're going to want to be pushing up pretty far to try and get this pressure. But at the same time, the second part that's really important about the third man role is you can't let the ball get over your head. If it gets over your head and it's behind you, you guys are now retreating and you have to make an awkward clear attempt. Obviously, it's a lot easier to make a play on a ball when you're coming from behind it and you can get momentum and power. So you really need to be balancing how far you are from the play. So you want to be close enough up to where you can provide pressure and still be part of the play to get the next ball, but you can't be pushing too far up so that it can easily get over your head. So you have to be really watching the play. You see who's going to be the next person to hit the ball, and you try and play off of that. Like if it looks like it's going to be a weak hit or there's no clear really coming in sight, you can push up a lot more and you can be aggressive. But if it looks like there's a free hit coming for the other team and they could possibly get a big clear, it means you have to respect that hit. So you're probably going to want to turn around, you go back, and then you just try and play that next touch from farther back. Hopefully you'll have momentum for that and you can get a decent clear back onto their side or find a good pass. Now I've covered pretty much the basics for each one of those roles that you're going to have in offense in Rocket League. But what's special about Rocket League is everything is situational. There are no rigid rules about like where the right place is to be. There could be an argument for positioning many ways that do have merit. You're mainly trying to find the gaps in the defense and apply constant pressure as a team, and sometimes the best way to get that pressure is by what some people call cutting the rotation. So you want to stop your rotation back and cut the rotation and go challenge a ball when you're going to be able to be the closest one to that and beat the other team when you don't have a teammate in the area who's going to be able to do the same. But if your teammate's in the area and he can and probably will beat the other guy and you're the one rotating back, you probably just want to yield to your teammate there because the guy with the angle from behind just has a lot easier of a hit and it'll keep the rotation easy and not clump it up at all. So here's an example of me where I'm driving over towards the side of the field. I think I'm about to go up for it, but before I do, I just make sure that my teammate's not there, because if he's coming up from behind, he still has an easier angle than I do, and if I cut him off here and I go for this ball, then there's going to be no one middle for my pass. So I want to let the guy who's behind go, because I can go support him middle in case he decides to pass. But if I ended up going, he's still probably going to be behind me, and there's no one there middle, and so it's a lot harder to create a good offensive chance from there. So you see, there are going to be good times to fully rotate back, and there are going to be good times to cut the rotation. You're just trying to fill in the gaps for your team and keep constant pressure on the other team. Alright, so now I have a couple rules, and these rules are basic positioning, kind of standard rules, which are true probably 90% of the time, but as I said before, with a game that's so situational like Rocket League, no rule's correct 100% of the time, but if you follow these rules, you're going to put yourself in good spots most of the time. Just because you're low boost doesn't mean you have to rotate all the way back. So you want to be constantly reading the play, and if you're about to rotate out, but your team is winning possession and creating an offensive chance, it's much better to stick around and attack with your team as you grab boost pads to help grab a goal. And remember, you don't need to have full boost to still be effective on the field. Fake challenge on the other team's side if you're not the first one to the ball. So if you're getting beat, you want to fake challenge here and turn around to start your rotation back really quickly. So you grab boost, you get back in the rotation. It still accomplishes the same goal of providing pressure and making the opponent panic as he thinks you're going for this ball and challenging him. And you can just get your rotation started a lot quicker and gain tempo for your team by really just being there. And you don't even have to actually make a challenge on the ball. It's very consistent, and you're going to be getting a lot of pressure this way. Do not go for the ball as the third man on offense if you're not getting a clear beat on the guy. So taking a 50-50 as the third man or getting beat both lead to a goal really all the time. 90% of the time, you don't want to be going in as the third man if you're either going for a dunk or if you're taking a 50-50, just back off, reposition farther back, and get ready for the next challenge, or you just fake challenge here. Getting the guy to panic and hit the ball away to your own side is just as effective as going in for a 50-50. But the big takeaway here is just don't be going in unless you're sure that you can beat that guy as the third man. Otherwise, it's just not going to be worth the risk. So our last rule here is, as the first man, after you attack and you make your play, you want to look to harass the enemy team. So as long as you do your job and you beat, let's say, one or two players while getting the ball to somewhere where your teammate can make a decent contest instead of the other team, there should be enough time for you to bump, demo, or steal boost from the other team, which will disrupt their defensive rotation before you quickly rotate out and you join your team's rotation once again. And this can cause a lot of panic and missed touches from the other team and leads to a ton of goals even at the highest level of play. But remember, these are rules that should generally be followed, probably like I said, 90-95% of the time, but as you gain awareness and game sense, there is bending to these rules and definite exceptions as you're improving and understanding the game better.